Hello and welcome to today's podcast, today's episode. Thank you for joining us. It's nice to have you here. Today we are talking particularly about business consultancy, because this is a podcast all about you and your business. And we're fortunate enough to be joined by Brook Corporate and the very lovely Andrew Rowley. So hi, Andrew.
Hi.
How are you?
Great, thank you.
Thanks for doing this. Much appreciated.
No problem.
So for the benefit of people who have never perhaps used business consultancy before, just give us a little bit about what is Brook Corporate.
Well, Brook Corporate Developments has been going for 20 years or so now, and it's evolved over that period. But basically, what we do has never really changed that much in terms of the fact of businesses approach us when they've got a need for either a special skill or some support in doing something, and we provide that for them in the form of putting a consultant in to work with them, and then we project manage that throughout that period and maintain contact with the business so that they know what they can expect, and they can also come and give us further ideas if there might be something else that they want to look at as well.
Found a winning formula then.
Yeah.
So what exactly is, how would you describe business consultancy? Because it's quite a broad term, isn't it?
It is, and it can cover a lot of things really, but I guess to put it into a single sentence, it's putting the expertise or knowledge into a business where they either haven't got that at the moment, or that they're looking to develop into something new and they need some help in actually getting to that point. And we, as I say, we can put that skill and expertise in there to help and get to where they need to be.
Are there do you come across misconceptions of what business consultancy is? Do people have in their own heads what they expect of you?
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah, in some cases. It can fall into two sort of polar opposites, really. Either people think that we're going to come in and do everything for them.
Okay. Which would be nice.
It would be, yeah. And, we would support and help them, but that's not the way we do it. What we do is we give them the skills to then be able to put into place what they need to do, but also, more importantly, be able to retain those skills for future use.
Okay. So it's not. You're not just telling them what to do. In which case,
no. We basically handhold in the nicest possible way. One of our key aspects of the way we work with the business is we collaborate with them, and collaboration is a word that we use over and over again.
Okay.
Because we're not there to dictate to a business what they need to do. We're there to help them solve either an issue or a problem, or to get them from A to B as quick as they can by giving them the guidance and the knowledge to help them get there and not slip up along the way.
Are these businesses? Are they usually in a fight or flight mode, or they come to you in a variety, whatever stage they're at? Are they growing? Are they dying? Does it come to you in a variety of ways?
Pretty much across everything. We obviously we tend to try and work with growing businesses because they're the ones that's looking to actually progress. But we have worked with businesses the other side of it as well. If they're struggling and they need to change things around or put something in, implement something to help them survive, then again we'll work with them on that basis as well.
So do you have you have a range of consultants that work for Brooks? Is that right?
Yeah.
What kind of backgrounds do they have then? What kind of people are they, I suppose?
A wide variety again. They're basically the consultants that we have all lived and breathed what they now consult on. So they've either run their own business, and a number of them still do have their own business, or they've been senior officials within an organisation and sort of know it from the other side as well. So they've actually worked on it, they've implemented these things there. So they're not coming from a textbook point of view, they're coming from a point of view of they've done this, they've actually experienced what the business is experiencing. And obviously through the life of being a consultant, they come across many aspects of it. So like everybody else, they're continuing learning on the job, so they can take something from one delivery and help enhance another delivery as well.
So they've kind of lived it. Is that how it works? Yeah. So do you have a variety of different specialisms? Because as we said before, consultancy is a massive term.
Yeah.
Do you have a range of consultants who are specialists in certain aspects of?
Yes.
What kind of aspects are there? What kind of things can people access?
Pretty much anything a business could look for. So obviously there's strategic stuff, there's leadership and management, there's HR, There's if they're looking to put a standard into the business, so for example, like an ISO standard, we've got consultants that specialise in that, so they can very much help that business go through all the process, get their accreditation, and quite often with those businesses, we end up working with them on an ongoing basis because they come back to us wanting help while they're actually going through their audit for reaccreditation.
The ISO,
yeah,
that's a heavy thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and
how many
it's
standards are there now? Is ISO is it 5 or 6, something like that?
Oh, probably even more than that, because there's some quite niche ones, and with the sort of emphasis on the green energy and stuff like that, there's standards coming out on that. I mean, it's part of the environmental standard, but there's other things sort of being developed all the while about it. Yeah,
new standards, and these are all consultants that can be accessed, I mean, like through the business scale up program.
Yes, yeah.
So, what is there a particular size of business that would ordinarily access consultancy, or is that broad as well? Again,
it's broad. We would normally say we work with SMEs, okay, because the larger organisations, particularly if we're looking at it from a funding side of things as well, the larger organisations could usually afford to do it off their own bat. Not always, but in the main. Yeah. So we do say we try to work with SMEs, even down to 1 and 2 man bands. We've worked with those as well. For us, the important thing is it's a business that wants to change or grow, wants to develop something.
Or needs to.
But more importantly, they're willing to collaborate with us to actually get to where they need to be.
I imagine that's quite hard for some businesses to do, to want to sort of give up an element of control and decision making to have. Is that fair?
It is, and again, I guess that's why I said that at the outset that collaboration is a big thing for us, because the way we pitch it is we try to partner with the business. So quite often, some of the people that we've worked with for any length of time will actually say we've almost integrated into the business. We see that consultant as part of our team for the day or days that they're in. Because they just become part of the team,
right?
And that's a key element to it, because you've got to have that relationship with the business.
Some trust there, isn't there? There has to be some trust built there.
Yeah.
So how would it work then? I mean, I've never used business consultancy, but I know we've worked together for a couple of years now. But I've never actually drilled into the ins and outs of it. So let's just say, for example, a business needed some help. They wanted to access international markets, for example. From their point of view, how does that work? Do you sit with them all day? Is it a week? Is it an hour at a time? How does that work?
Take it back to the start. If we find that business, they'll come to us or come via somebody such as yourself and say, we need some support in getting into new market, America, whatever it might be. First thing is I go out to see them, or one of my colleagues from the business support team will go out to see them, spend some time talking to them, find out a bit about their business, a bit about them, what makes them tick, what's the driving factor for them. Find out what the perceived issue is that they've got at the moment, and why they feel that the want, in this case that you've given, why do they want some support with international trade? And then sort of like drill down to that, make sure that is actually what they need, and that it's not sort of something missing in the background that it needs to be looked at before we do that. Once we've established that is what they want to do, we then put them in touch with the consultant that we think is the best one to work with the business. And that comes from a point of view of somebody with the right skill set, somebody with the right knowledge. But for us, one of the big things is it's the person that's going to fit with that business. You don't want somebody that's going to go in and they're going to end up butting heads or locking arms or whatever. It needs to be somebody that they can get on with. So that is a key element to it. And then that consultant will speak to them, give them an indication of what is going to be needed, how many days it will probably take to do something.
Right.
And then we work that out on a pattern that suits them. So quite often with something like international trade, if they wanted to go through all the paperwork or something like that, if it's not too complex or it's not too niche an area, probably 3-4 days would be sufficient to get that done. But if we're talking about a 1 or 2 man band, they can't afford 3 or 4 days out of the business.
No.
So what we do is just split it down into either half days or a couple of hour sessions or whatever. So, we do that. And in some cases, some of the follow-up sessions could actually be done by Teams or Zoom or something like that. So again, it's not sort of impacting on the actual work time too much. It's a bit pointless putting one thing in to make something better are making something else worse along the way. So, if they're falling behind on things, then it's not great.
What about the kind of thing that must happen often is that you come across a business or a management team that need to hear some truths that perhaps might be slightly uncomfortable for them to hear. How is that tackled? How is that dealt with? Is it swept under the carpet, or is it actually faced and dealt with?
No, not at all. It's because you're not doing the business a service if you blatantly ignore something that is wrong. That's where having the right person in works, because somebody will have to say, right, sit down and have a honest conversation with you. And by the time I've been with you, or by the time I've looked at things, I've actually identified these issues. Now, these are things we can help you with.
Yeah.
Are you prepared to sort of look at these and take it on board? Because the one thing we will not do when we go into a business is we will not dictate to them what needs to be done.
Right.
It's their business at the end of the day. We can advise them, we can help them, but they've got to want to be part of it, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that's got to actually implement it. We'll help them and hold their hand through it, but they've got to do it. So if they're not going to do it, it's just going to be a waste of their time and a waste of ours as well.
Would you say that on the whole, business consultancy works? I mean, there must be times when it for whatever reason, it doesn't. But on the whole, is that fair to say that on the whole, it works?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, it goes back to that thing. The business has got to want it. They've got to identify that they need it. They've got to accept that there are going to be some challenging things along the way. And also that we're going to actually help them get along that journey and actually support them throughout that journey.
Okay.
But if that is all in place, then yes, it'll go ahead. We have had instances where, not many, thank goodness, but the business and the consultant haven't got on. That's then again when I'll go in and I'll speak to the business and sort of say, right, okay, this is not working for whatever reason. Have another chat with them like we did at the outset. Re-establish to make sure that what we're doing is right. And then say, okay, on that case, so then we're going to bring a new consultant in, and then I'll go back to the business with a new consultant, sit down and make sure that they're going to gel, and then continue. Very, very rarely, if ever, have we actually not finished delivering on something that we've gone into with the business.
So you're a bit like Cilla Black. You kind of matchmake folk.
I've been called some things, but Cilla Black's not one of them. So
a day is a day to remember.
Thanks, Adrian.
I think that kind of that wraps up part one of this episode. So we hope you've enjoyed it, and don't forget to join us for part two.